business is breezing through. As you can see, we're all decorated for Christmas. So today we're going to talk about toddler-friendly Christmas decorations. I've been doing this for a while now because my oldest is 8 and autistic. And so when she was tiny, it was really important to make sure we had toddler-friendly Christmas decorations and just had a toddler-friendly Christmas. And I know there's some people that are like, I'm going to do Christmas the way I'm going to do it, and my kids will adapt to that. I'm not that. I'm not that person. It's just not worth it to me. That is not a hill I'm willing to die on. So I'm going to walk you through a few of the things that we do and that I've kind of started doing over the last few years just to ensure my sanity and to make Christmas enjoyable for everybody. I've done other posts on how to have an enjoyable holiday season if you're neurodivergent, how to have a more inclusive home during the holidays for neurodivergent family members. But this is more toddler specific, but just keep in mind, my family is all neurodivergent. So this is going to be neurodivergent and toddler friendly. So let's get started.
Let's start off in my son's room. I like to have a tree in both of my kids' rooms because it gets them more familiar with the tree, but I can decorate it to their personality instead of the one that's the main one downstairs. It's not lit. I went with very, very basic just so that he isn't going to harass it too much. I am big on fake trees because one, you can use them over and over and over again. And then when you're done with it, you can donate it to somebody else who can then use it. And also I'm allergic to trees. And so having a live tree in my house is just not ideal. Having 3 live trees in my house is just a really bad idea. I already generally use non-breakable ornaments. I do have a handful of ones that I've had for years and years or that I've bought more recently that are breakable. Those don't go on my kids' trees. Specifically for my kids' trees though, I do like to use plush and like small animal ornaments because they really can't break them. And if they pull them off and want to play with them, it's not a big deal. I have been collecting the Jellycat ornaments over the last few years, and I only have some of them. I do not have all of them, but these are perfect for a toddler Christmas tree because they're cute, they're soft. If they pull them off the tree, it is not a big deal. And honestly, they look like something that a toddler is going to be interested in anyway. I will say with my son's tree, there's one thing I did mess up. It wasn't the lights. It wasn't any of the ornaments. It was actually his garland. I was shopping with him and we found this garland that has these bells on it. And we actually decided on the color scheme for his tree based on this garland. Well, he loved the garland when I bought it, which meant that when I put it on the tree, he loved it still and he wanted to take it off and play with it, which he did. And it has come apart. I will restring it because the bells can easily be restrung, but that was a really good thing to learn, was to not put a garland on a tree that my kid is obsessed with. I've honestly never had that problem before. My oldest, who is autistic, as I mentioned, didn't bother stuff. So she never bothered our Christmas trees. Wasn't a big deal. She just wasn't curious about that kind of stuff. My son, on the other hand, especially his first 2 Christmases, he wanted to take everything off the tree. He was so fascinated by the tree and the ornaments and all the stuff on it, which is why I've done his tree the way I have so that he really can explore it. He can touch everything on it. He can pull stuff off of it, and it is not a big deal, but he still gets used to having a tree and what it looks like. That way, again, he's more used to the one downstairs and at other people's houses. My daughter's room has a very similar setup to what I've done in the past. However, this year, I realized as I was getting my Christmas decorations out that I had gotten her a 6-foot standard size pink Christmas tree 2 years ago. And we used it 2 years ago because last year we were coming back from Argentina and I just was not up for decorating my house after getting home on December 15th. Anyway, that Christmas tree was not going to fit in our room anymore because I put in the cubbies and the desk on the far side of her bed where the windows are, which is where I usually put that Christmas tree. So the standard tree was not going to fit. So I donated that tree to a family at our school that definitely benefited from it more than we did. And I got this really skinny 6-foot tree for my daughter. It's like 3 feet wide, maybe 2.5 feet wide at the base, which is perfect. And that meant that I could put it right in front of her house bed. This also was not lit. I prefer to get trees that are not lit because that way if the lights go out for some reason, I can replace them much easier than if they're already attached to the tree, because that is just a pain in the butt and I've had to do that before. I did get pink lights for her tree because I thought that'd be really fun, and of course it looked absolutely adorable. All of her ornaments are non-breakable. We decorated these with my cousins, and so I don't have any footage of that, but it was really fun. I keep moving stuff around because I was not present to decorate it. One of the other things I do for a more toddler-friendly Christmas is I put stuff that is more fragile, that I'm more worried about, up high, like really, really high up. So if you're new here, I do a cookie garland every year. This is kind of a play on a German tradition that's from my mom's side of the family. In Germany, they buy cookies in the Christkindlmarkts and then they put them on their garlands and then they get rid of them at the end of the year. Well, nobody sells cookies like that here. And so over time, I have collected cookie looking like ornaments so I can reuse them every year. Well, I don't want my son touching most of these. Some of them actually are cookies from Germany from the 90s that my mom purchased and shellacked. And again, I don't want my son touching any of these. And so I put them really high up so he can't get to them. I feel better about it. I still get to do this fun thing that I love that's a family tradition. And he can't reach them, so he doesn't really care. Yes, I'm standing on my counter in my shoes. Yes, I clean off my counter after I do this. And no, I'm not standing on my oven because I have learned from so many of you that standing on your glass oven top is a really, really bad idea. So I don't do that anymore. I do put a garland on our railing on our front stairs. We don't have a mantle in our house. And because of how our house is set up, I don't have anywhere to actually put a faux mantle. So this is where I hang our stockings. I got new garlands this year and I absolutely love them because they don't shed and they look very realistic. They're actually very, very pretty. And I use these twist tie pieces to attach them to the railing and they're damage free. I have a separate video on those. I absolutely love these. But because I got a new garland and it's very, very different from our old garland, which was kind of that old standard garland that everybody had growing up that shed, it's just so much more toddler friendly. He's not going to poke himself on it. He's not going to get too curious about it and pull it off. This garland is so much nicer and I tuck the lights into it and he doesn't bother the lights. He doesn't bother the stockings either, which has been a miracle, honestly. And then I add these little picks that are also on the Christmas tree to kind of tie the tree and the garland together. Again, he has not touched them. The nice thing is they clip in, so he can't pull them off either. And then one of the other very toddler friendly decorating things that I do is I get a lot of Christmas stuffed animals and pillows. I find that this is a really easy way to decorate and then my kids can enjoy them without me worrying about something breaking. And it's just really cute and fun. And so I put stuff on our stairs. I put stuffed animals and the pillows on our couch. They go in the kids' rooms. Again, it's just a really fun way to have decorations out that aren't going to break, that the kids love, that I think are adorable. And I put these wherever the kids can reach them. So again, stuff that is breakable and I don't want my kids touching, I put up really high, and stuff that I'm totally okay with them having is within reach. And last up is our main room Christmas tree. So I actually have to move our piano in order to put this Christmas tree here because there's nowhere else to put it. The piano actually ends up in front of the railing like you saw just a second ago. When it comes to actually decorating this tree, I focus on having non-breakable stuff on the bottom and towards the front of the tree. Stuff that is going to break, that I'm worried about my son getting to, is further back in the tree and further up, because while he is curious about what is on the tree, if he has to stick his arm inside the branches, he's not going to do it. I've watched him try. He's not into it. And so I can definitely hide stuff back there. I do try to make sure that the majority of the stuff on this tree is totally okay for him to pull off and play with. Because for one, I don't want to spend the majority of my time putting stuff back on the tree and telling him he can't do stuff. And I also don't want him to have memories later of, being harassed about touching the Christmas tree. It's not that big of a deal. It's super easy to find stuff that doesn't break. As long as I put stuff that he can break out of reach, it's really not a big deal and I'm happy to do it.
So hopefully those are a few ideas that can help you if you are trying to figure out the best ways to create a toddler/neurodivergent friendly Christmas this year. I'm always kind of adjusting depending on what's going on, like the stage my kids are in. I will say 2 years ago when my son was tiny, he was pulling stuff off of trees. Like he would just pull stuff off of this tree behind me. The bottom should not have had anything on it. Last year didn't have any decorations because we had just gotten back from Argentina and I just didn't have it in me to do that. This year does not care, will not touch a tree. He is totally fine. So I feel like as toddlers get older and they, progress and mature and develop, you're going to have to adjust differently and you'll do different things every year. But hopefully these things will help going forward. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe so you can see more videos like this in your feed, and I will see you next time.